All right, good day, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel show. So today's been a productive day. It's a Monday for me here. And my returning guest co-host, he's become a regular. So shout out, I'll let him jump in a second. Chuck Wood back in the house, coming in live from Utah. And quick reminder for our listeners, he's the founder and creator of Top End Devs, long time podcaster. I'm like even though I've been podcasting since 2016, I'm a rookie compared to his background. He runs multiple shows. He's got a ton more tech background than I do. Big time family guy, understands personal branding, understands networking. That's why he and I just decided to stay connected. We're fellow, really co-authors, so to speak, because we had to sit there and hold each other's feet to the fire to get our books done. But again, has got a wife, he's got 5 kids, Utah based. So without further ado, Chuck Wood, so welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, man. And
Good to be
I was
back.
pumped because it's not showing. I got to change this all around, but I now have 2 mic stands, dedicated mics, all jacked into my Rodecaster Pro here.
Oh, nice.
Bar stools in the corner, extra ring light. So last week, I did my first ever live in studio podcast after all these years.
Nice.
And then today, another buddy of mine showed up and we did it again. So in between those 2 shows, the mic stands showed up. I already had the extra ring light, but it was out in the barn in the man zone out there. But both of these dudes were guys. I think I told you last show. If not, we could talk about that today too.
Yeah, your retreat thing that you did. Yeah.
I wanted to bring together men, but I wanted to make it bigger than just we're dudes. Let's actually be intelligent and show that there's some high performing, higher echelon men out there. So these are all dudes I've met through public speaking. Based here in Pennsylvania. So anyway, I've now checked off 2 of those as follow-up sessions since then, because I promised them, hey, we did a big group podcast at the end of the night out in the barn.
Right.
And in the gym area. And actually I just set a date, dude. We're doing it again. So it's going to happen. So in a few weeks in March, towards the end of March, we'll be returning here to the man zone, AKA the barn, AKA the gym, AKA all kinds of things happening out there. And now Men of Mindset. So lots been going on, man. How about you?
Good deal.
Last time you were
lots
under
of
the weather and dealing with politics.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I feel like you're always dealing with politics.
Always dealing with politics. Yeah. Caucus nights in a week. So we're trying to get that all pulled together. And then other politics. I won't go into all of it. Family drama. That's been a thing lately. Since
I feel like at some point or multiple points in all of our lives, there's always some level or tier of said family drama.
Yeah.
Would you
I had one. Yeah. I had a brother attempt suicide before Christmas.
Yes. Sorry again.
And then
I remember that. Yeah,
my other brother is currently in the county jail waiting for somebody to bail him out who's not going to be me. So anyway, family drama.
Way to hold your ground, sir. I have some of those positions through other family over the years and or close friends and colleagues. And then it's like, you know what? There's a point where you just don't need to overstep that boundary. Or there's a point where I'm not getting involved with you and your bro, but it's like, maybe you need a little bit of a wake up call because I don't know what happened. But I was like, if you're not going to rush in to save the day, it's because maybe you did something stupid and you need to be held accountable. So, and that's not your responsibility, right? You're a proud father. You have a family. You have lots of responsibilities.
Can we stop for a second?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna unpause in the Zoom world. The podcasting world, it's funny. My Rodecaster Pro, I know you have a whole different tech board over there, but I can hit play and I can hit record, but there's no like mid-reel pausing that makes it easy. And I just realized that because I don't really do it very often. Hey, dude, we're all families. We all got stuff going on.
Yeah.
And again,
we're taking food over to the play practice. So
cool. Shortly,
my wife needed. Well, my wife's taking it over. I'm not. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I'd gotten it all out, so she had a question for me. So
nice. I thought I heard something about packages, and I get a kick out of that too because okay.
Yeah, apparently I didn't get enough packages of hot dogs. So.
I thought you were waiting for a package to be delivered.
No.
Because that's always an adventure too, right?
I'm
up on the side of a mountain here, and we've paid. I make this joke all the time. We paid with the neighbors to rebuild the entire driveway. The first year I was here. You've heard that story, and I'm like, okay, you got $15,000 worth of asphalt, 90 tons of asphalt to rebuild the hill
Wow.
entrance. And yet sometimes we still get notifications saying package undeliverable. I'm like, dude, my asphalt is in better shape than the main road. Like,
Right.
what is your malfunction? And here's the best part. It's
Right.
never,
Yeah.
it's never UPS. It's,
Uh-huh.
if it is Amazon, they end up just dumping it onto somebody else's route. And then the other person who's been here
Uh-huh.
probably figures it out. But FedEx is always the problem. They're the
Oh,
ones,
really?
until we got the driveway fixed, they would take the entrance wrong, too steep up the hill, high center the back bumper, lift their tires off the ground, and block the whole entrance. And then they had to be towed out. This happened
Oh,
like
God.
2 to 3 times a year. Just
Oh, wow.
like people don't understand how big the FedEx truck is. And if you're making a tight
Uh-huh.
turn up a mountain, either A, go down the road, turn around and come back from a different angle,
Right.
or just talk to each other. Like, you guys haven't shared that this is a challenging entrance. Now, again, it's been fixed
Uh-huh.
since then. Nobody's gotten stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think it's funny because even Amazon, I went and updated all the instructions because they keep putting stuff on the front porch. And I realized you could put instructions in there. So I said, hey, put it on the back porch, because where you guys turn around your vehicles anyway, it's a covered back porch deck above it. You know, the packages are safer
Right.
out there. And past 2 weeks, it's been fine. Tonight's package shows up on the front porch. So
Yep.
I don't know. You can lay all the instructions out there to the world, be as clear as possible. And again, I don't know what happened between you and the wifey. Like, hey, sometimes you think you got enough packages of rolls or buns or hot dogs or whatever's going on. Or I don't know. So
Yeah, I was under the impression that, there were 65-ish kids, and so I got 64 hot dogs, and apparently we need 72 hot dogs. So,
because some kids went too, or there's more people.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or there are more people, it sounds like. So yeah, there was some miscommunication somewhere.
Well,
and
maybe somebody doesn't want a roll or a hot dog. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got plenty of buns, but
okay.
Yeah.
Just not enough hot dogs. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Well,
So
have some bread. I mean, I don't. Well, this is
anyway,
life, right? You're running a successful podcast. You got all your consulting you do. You got the business that you've been hustling and growing online. Like me today. Like, I've had 2 different webinars today. I've had I had to be here for somebody to drop off something. Then I had a live podcast. Now you and I are podcasting again. It's 5:45 in the evening. I'll have dinner at some point. Like, the hustle doesn't stop. Right? I mean, it's what we do.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. But
and this is life. So
yeah, that is life. And I was kind of paying for a lot of stuff with the contract, and it slowed down this in January. So, I'm trying to find something else that can kind of fill in the gaps until the business kind of comes up the rest of the way. And
have you squeezed in any more content design? I know you're looking at launching a whole new, finally getting that the online training program more robust and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm starting to put content out there. I have a handful of people that are signed up for it, subscribed to it.
Sweet.
I'm starting to, get a little more aggressive announcing it on the podcast. And then, I'm putting together services for people who want to start their own software as a service. So
I like this because, one, if you start talking about it on the podcast, it holds your own feet to the fire, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've done. If I have a secret project, it's secret until I need to start building momentum.
Right.
Or holding myself accountable. Like when you and I back in the day with the books, right? Like we started podcasting about it because it was no joke. It was a struggle. I had this conversation with Wes, one of the speakers that I had here last week, the guy from Meta Mindset. I was like, yo, he's going to put a book out. I was like, more power to you. One thing that our mutual friend Hillary shared with me during the process was everybody's got a story to tell. And you don't realize until you put it down on paper, or you record it as an audiobook, or you put it out there on YouTube as chapters, or whatever, however your format is, it is somebody will connect with that story, and you could be helping somebody with it, or you could be teaching somebody something, like your new online course. Online courses could be turned into a book, or you've already put out a book. So now you're building the courses, and then you can end up putting another book from that. You never know, right? That's the fun of recycling content, repurposing it. But in the end, you got to have the fortitude and the commitment to get the content documented.
Yep, absolutely.
So the hustle's has been flowing then.
Yeah, lots of hustle.
I get it. I get it.
How was your so how did the retreat or mastermind or whatever you want to call it? How did that go?
I don't know what I was calling it. That's why I just ended up calling it Men of Mindset. People are like, what was that? I was like,
Uh-huh.
it was just a bunch of men coming together and I was grilling
Yeah.
steaks and we hung out in the barn all night and then ended up recording a podcast. So
Yeah.
it was awesome. No complaints.
Yep.
Actually, I went back and re-listened to the show when I was traveling this past week because I just needed something to download for the plane. And I was like, you know, I was going to start bringing a couple guys into the studio because they're local. And I was like, all right, let me go ahead and just reconnect on that whole evening. And now, granted, we hung out for a couple of hours with the steak and the eating first, then sat down, fired up the mics, and did the recording session. But it was great. Each guy agreed with me that, and you'll get this, right? Most of those, almost everybody there, except me and one other dude, had families. They all had kids,
right?
Married, divorced, whatever. Everybody's got personal lives. Each of them, you know, because they're all like you and me, like just a lot of irons in the fire, right? Either public speaking, traveling influencers, running multiple companies, multiple time entrepreneurs, whatever it may be. So, but they all agreed. As men, sometimes we suck getting together just for ourselves.
Yep.
And the point of that night, it was like, this is kind of something that I think I need to do on the personal front with my longtime male friends as well. Because I make the joke, we kind of suck at this in general. I mean, would you agree or disagree? I mean, I'm referring to the male versus female thing, right?
I mean, I have a couple of friends that I get together with every week, but
well, we talked about this. That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about growth-oriented, getting deep, getting transparent, getting
I definitely need to find that again.
It was, dude, one dude was tearing up by the end of the night, reflecting on his trials and tribulations of his upbringing with his father. This dude is a buff, tattooed, hardcore real estate guy. And I went to high school with the guy and I had no idea about his childhood. He was a prize athlete. Like he was an amazing football player, everything else. I just saw him as like, okay, he's that popular jock guy. Didn't know about his trials and tribulations at home, broken family, mother, you know, working her fingertips to the bone because dad wasn't around and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, and then him like getting deep about, you know, like not being able to have that father figure, him looking to his friends' fathers for that better level of influence, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
It was pretty profound. And it's exactly what I was hoping for.
It's interesting how often, at least with men, a lot of those issues stem out of dad, right? One way or the other. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, you know, what some people might want to call it daddy issues, mommy issues, or it's just like, yo, like Rob and I talked about it today in the studio. He's like, everybody's got a past. Yeah. And at times, a lot of us make the mistake of holding on to the past. And this goes for positive things too. Hey, that happened. Like when I was starting writing the book and when I started getting serious with my now wife, right? I talk about that, how I kept dwelling on the firefighting because it was such a amazing, different adventure.
Right.
And then I stopped doing it and then I started missing it. But then I kept holding my feet to the fire saying, no, you know, you were capable of doing more, creating more change in the world. That's why you didn't go back. That's why you made these changes. But I kept dwelling on it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I'm dwelling on all the positives, but then I kept forgetting about the negatives. But then in other things in our lives, a lot of times we dwell on the negative and then we forget the positive. So it's interesting how that energy transfers.
Yep.
Depending on what we're holding on to.
Yep. Or what we're running away from. Because a lot of times it's, you have whatever it is, right? Whether it was pain or, you know, relationship that you didn't have or, you know, relationship you did have, right? And it's like, I don't want anything like that in my life again.
But some people are willing to start dealing with it, or a lot of people put it off. And I'm a Band-Aid guy, you know, rip it off. Like just get into it, right? Just that's why I told Hillary when we were editing the book. I was like, Hillary, go ahead and bust on me via text, whatever you got to do. I approve. Like I have no I have no inklings. I'm like, whatever, lay into me. If I'm being slow, I'm being slow. You know, sometimes you need that person in your corner.
Yep. Yeah.
But a lot of people out there don't have that person in their corner. And that was kind of also the behind the scene theme of that. I was like, you know what? I just want to get a bunch of guys together. Let's see what kind of conversation comes out of it off the mic. And then I was like, let's do the mic at the end and see what they're willing to put on the mic.
Right.
And that was the cool thing. Almost everybody, after a quality dinner, hanging out, everybody bonding, getting to know each other, because most of these guys didn't know each other. Some did, right? Get all that cross-pollination done. That's like an hour and a half, 2 hours right there. Then it's like, hey, before we all head out for the night, let's sit down and just bang out a podcast. Ended up being well over an hour, almost an hour and a half. I didn't expect them to hang that late. Yeah. I was like, okay, there's something here. And everybody since said, dude, that was great. Like, let's do it again.
Yeah. I've been in a couple of men's groups where we did retreats like that. Yeah. And oh man, sometimes it takes a little while to get comfortable.
Retreat. I never thought about calling it a retreat. Interesting.
Yeah.
What makes you call it a retreat?
I don't know. We just get together. Yeah. I was definitely not at home.
Okay. But I like that because it makes it feel more of a destination event.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just my barn, but
Yeah. Well, and when I've done it, I did it with guys that I was talking to every week anyway. And so, but it was different because you kind of get away from where you're comfortable and you really start getting into, new place, new rules kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and the whole point here is, I think a lot of us fail to create a safe space, and we all deserve it and we actually need it. Okay. Whether it be individually, even in a happy marriage, right? You got to, I'll go out in the woods and fire up my chainsaws, whatever. I'm just like, that's my zen, right? My wife, she can go riding horses with girlfriends and drinking champagne, whatever. I don't know. That's a thing. That's not my thing, but
right.
Everybody's got their own thing, and that's cool. Like, you don't have to do everything together. So as men, I think a lot of us, I feel each of us can benefit from just a male focused thing. It's interesting because the one guy brought this up, and you're a proud father. That's why I love, because he put everything on the mic. We had no, me, I had never filter. I never edit anything. And the guy goes, listen, I don't care wherever you're at with this whole sex thing. Like, he's talking about what's going on right now in 2024 with kids. And he goes, men raise men. And when I say men, I'm saying a legit, proper, mature adult male. He's like, not my father. He's like, not my father. He made a lot of mistakes. He's like, but I met a lot of great fathers who set great examples and embodied structure, and they weren't afraid to make their kid cry. Because guess what? You're going to cry in life. You're not going to get everything you want. Right? Yeah. You need structure. You need foundation. You need boundaries. And he grew up alone with his mom, and he missed some of that structure. He praised his mother. Right. He said, there's a different psychological and emotional connection between the two parents. That's why they both exist. That's why if you want to get into the religion of it, it's like, okay, a male and a female. A male still has to see the woman, right? Like, it takes two to tango. It's interesting. Now, you're actually a father, so you can speak to that better than I can. I'm just a dog dad. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I've probably learned as much just from, growing up with my dad around as I did from, raising boys. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I can really quantify it, but, I mean, there were definitely aspects of the way my dad was that I admired and emulate. And then there are other things that he did that I had to overcome, right? That were his shortcomings. And so it's funny too, because sometimes I'll come down on my boys or my girls, but I'll come down on my kids and be like, no, this is not the way, right? Because I had to learn it the hard way. And sometimes my wife gets on my case about how I do it, and she's right. So my dad had some pretty severe self-esteem issues.
Oh, okay.
And like, I didn't have that to the same degree that he did, but I did find myself backing off of who I was or what I thought or what I believed, because that's what he did. And so I had to get to the point where I realized, no, you know what? It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard. People are going to be jerks. But I realized that I wasn't happy backing off.
Yeah.
right? And that doesn't mean that I'm in your face about stuff all the time, but at the same time, it's that kind of thing, right? And so, my kids start talking about how they don't want to tip over the apple cart, and I'm like, that apple cart needs to be tipped over,
Ooh,
right?
I like that. I'm using
Right?
that as a quote. That apple cart. I'm gonna take note of that. Go ahead. Keep
And
going.
then, but yeah, so then, sometimes I get pushback from people, family members. I mean, they're well-meaning people, but they're like, yeah, but you might get blowback for that. And it's interesting because I'm very religious, and so I pop out the scriptures, and I'm like, oh, you mean I might get blowback like this guy did, and this guy did, and this guy in the scriptures, right? I mean, nobody who was doing the right thing, Jesus did the right thing, and he got blowback.
Yeah.
And so if I'm doing the right thing, and I'm
that
getting
it doesn't
blowback,
matter if you do the right thing or the wrong thing. There's going to be different types of blowback in life.
Yeah.
Right?
And so that's just one example, right? Where it's just like, no, sometimes you really have to go in and, braid yourself a whip and cleanse the temple, right? Now, that's not what I'm looking to do most of the time. Most of the time I'm trying to persuade people over to my side by helping them understand how things really are.
Right.
And by making a point. I mean, to be perfectly honest, tomorrow, so here, we'll get into the politics a little bit, but there was an article published in, what was it, National Review, and it pointed out that 2 school districts here in Utah had adopted policies from the ACLU that said that teachers should not inform parents if a child decides to transition sex.
Oh yeah, that's going viral right now. Everybody's talking about that stuff because, again, it's like, dude, you're not the parent. I'm the parent. Yeah. I created that human being, or adopted that human being, and have full responsibility of that human being.
I'm responsible for him.
Yeah.
Right.
You're only responsible. He's in classroom.
If I beat the crap out of my kid because they decide they're trans, yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Right.
Yeah, that's inappropriate.
But if if they decide they're trans and I want to talk to them and make sure I understand what's going on and affirm a certain belief set, that's entirely within my rights as a parent. Yeah. And so, so I may go and I may tip over an apple cart and say some really naughty words at the school board meeting tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. But
here's the sad part. I know you're a good man, and you're not a normal, I probably dump out way more profanity than you do, because I just don't I don't give a shit. And I'm not maybe it's because I'm not as religious as you. Like, I believe in a higher power, and I have faith and stuff like that. I'm just not a structurally, go to the church guy, right? But my point is this: sometimes you just got to throw the profanity into it, because then people don't understand that you're trying to get a point across. And nowadays, sometimes people take you more seriously when it is in there. I mean, it doesn't mean that the entire paragraph is all profanity. Let's create some...
We might get close on this one.
Okay.
Your point is well made.
Can you have your iPhone, like the microphone on, so I can listen to it later?
I should.
That'd be hilarious.
They record the meetings. I'll send you a link.
I want you to send me a transcript, please.
But the thing is that I know the people on the board, right? I ran for school board. I know all of the people on the school board.
Okay.
Right. One of them actually is my mom's neighbor and talks to her on a regular basis. So I am going to get told on, right? Do you know what your son said? And I'm going to get a call from my mother, and I'm going to say she had it coming.
A grown man and believes in what he believes in. Yeah.
She had it coming.
Will your mom defend you, or I'm intrigued?
She'll call me up and say, I don't care what the issue was. You shouldn't have talked that way.
I like how you already are laying the groundwork, and you already have a feeling what you're probably going to say, even though you probably normally wouldn't, but you still want to do it. I like it. I like it. Because you're passionate.
But, yeah. Well, and anyway, but I know, because I've been to the board meetings, and I know how they approach public comment. And the way they approach public comment is they smile and nod, and they tell you they're not going to do anything about it. Yeah. They tell you right up front. They're like, well, we can't take any action because of open meeting laws. And so we're going to listen to you, but we're not really going to respond. So if I blow up the mic, then they will react, because they will viscerally react.
Right. That's the sad part. You have to polarize these people.
Yeah.
Just to get
I have
them
to go in
engage.
there and throw rocks.
Right. But here's the
or
thing.
they won't listen to me.
I agree with you because I don't go to school board meetings, but I've watched some of these like videos, depending on where you're at in the country, go viral because parents are finally
They
just
lose it because
they're tired of it. And because
Yeah.
you're right, these people were elected into those positions to serve. And they're up there acting like they have more power than God to control your children, your families, and everything else. It's like, you do realize you were elected by the people for the schools here, right? Not that's it.
Yeah.
Which means you do have to listen. So I always laugh when I see one of those videos go viral because I'm like, why do people even go? Because it seems like nothing gets done. I mean,
well, the other thing is that, and people throw this in my face. They threw it in my face when I got upset about some stuff related to drag queen story hour and pride parades in my city.
Oh God!
I came out against a couple of city council candidates who had gotten endorsed by the state lobby for that kind of a thing, and the only way you get endorsed by them is if you say that you'll do it. Right. And so I was just saying, look, I don't want this in my city, and I had people come out of the woodwork, and a bunch of them pulled out because I'm the vice chair for the county party, the county Republican Party. And so you're the vice chair for the county Republican Party, and you shouldn't say such things. And I said, I'm the vice chair of the Republican Party.
Isn't that aligned with the conservative agenda? I mean,
right. We stand for these things. So I should say something.
I'm not very political. Right? I'm just assuming that would align.
I didn't call her names. No. I didn't, I didn't say that any of these people were incompetent. I just said, look, if they're going to come in and do these things, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And
well, it's
I'm going to have it happen again.
I don't have kids in school, but as a health and fitness nut, like this shirt.
Yeah. I love it.
Right? Yeah. So I wore this 100% non-vegan. This is a t-shirt that Dr. Sean Baker, a big carnivore doctor influencer I had on my show years ago. He's been helping. This is one of his shirts. So anyway, as an experiment, I wore this, by the way, out to go for I have my 50th, the Hot Shots, my old Hot Shot crew in Arizona. They've never had a reunion. So they did a reunion event, and it was the 50th anniversary of the crew being in existence. It's one of the oldest Hot Shot crews in the nation. So I flew back to Arizona the other weekend, 2 weekends ago, to join that and reconnect with old Fire Brothers, and also to let them know that after all these years, whether they knew about my book or not, and me starting a charity thanks to it, all the proceeds for the book go into the charity, and I donate 3 to 5% of my own income out of my company and my businesses into the charity as well. So really, it's almost all my money fueling it. And I was like, I want to directly impact the hotshot world. So on the government topic and politics, a lot of people don't realize that since I served in 10 and 11, I think my base wage back then was like $14, $15 an hour. Apparently now it's 17. These people risk their lives for a living. One of the hardest firefighting jobs on the planet, fighting Mother Nature in the wildlands. And they got a $2 raise in 12 years.
That's ridiculous.
Years. And they're raising the cost of living by, if anybody lives on a government compound like I used to do, they're increasing the rents. They're not giving a raise. And it's still questionable if they're going to approve budgets or not. Like this stuff goes on every single year. Like what is Congress and all these people doing? So anyway, I wore this as a social experiment because if I was going to a school board meeting, I'd be rocking this. All right. Because they're trying to allow this type of crap to get into the schools now too. And it's like, did you ever think that everything that you've done to the school's nutritional program over the past 10, 20, 30 years went the wrong way? Like, why do we have an increase in childhood obesity? Why do we have an attention span issue with children in school? Maybe part of the problem is what the hell you're allowing them to eat and what you're actually buying and putting into the children's mouths, right?
Yeah.
Like getting away from whole milk and giving them skim milk. Great, we're going to throw the sodas machines out. Oh, wait, we're not going to get rid of soda machines. We're going to keep the machines and just replace it with fruit juice that is still owned by the same Coca-Cola company and Pepsi companies, which means
and has more sugar in it.
So you still have this highs and lows of childhood brain waves, and you wonder why they pass out or they're not focusing or they're all over the place. It's like, dude, you're putting an innocent child on a sugar train roller coaster ride times 10 with the food and the beverages. But well, we can't talk about that. And then New York is doing no meat Mondays or whatever they were doing the past couple years and all this other
Yeah.
crap. And I was like, dude, politics does not belong in school.
Right.
Did we ever talk about politics when I was a kid? Did you? I mean, in school.
Maybe.
Like
I don't
social
remember.
studies, you study government structure, right? All communism versus capitalism. Like you understand how our government.
Yeah, but that's
is built.
civics.
Yeah, exactly. But no, teachers were never allowed to talk about blue versus red and swaying. Like your job is to sit there and teach the curriculum. Now, granted, that's also screwed up too. But the approved curriculum, that's it. You don't get to get involved in any of this other shit that you were just telling me about.
Yep.
Like, no. That's the parent's job.
Yep. 100%.
What are you doing?
It's the parent's job.
Yeah. Even if you don't have your own kids, if you do have your own kids, good. You go parent your kids. I will parent my kids. Keep your nose out of it.
Right.
That's it. So,
if you wanted to make decisions for kids, you should have had some.
Well, last time I checked, and let's say even if I actually would say a lot of teachers don't have kids, but it's like, I don't understand it. It's like they just decide to start growing beyond their job description, because now I feel like you're inappropriately exceeding your job description and inappropriately altogether. Like you just don't get involved in kids. Like that's not your job, right? That's the family. There's parents for that.
Yeah.
Or in-laws or adopted parents or grandparents. That's the family structure.
Yep.
You're a teacher. Stay out of it.
Yep. 100%. 100% agree.
But now, does that make me a crazy red coat Republican for saying something like that? I don't think it matters. You should be liberal, blue, red. I think everybody should agree. Like, yo, those are my kids.
Well, a lot of the areas where this became wildly public were generally blue areas.
Interesting.
Those parents don't want the teachers telling their kids this stuff either.
But then they make it.
They don't want
politicized. They turn it into this polarization thing.
Yeah. They don't want the rapes going on in the bathrooms. The reasonable parents.
Dude, did you see the thing with the dude in Canada? The 50-some-year-old?
Oh, yeah, the swim team thing?
He now has identifying as a young girl, and they allowed him to
girl.
go in and change in a girl's locker room.
And they compete in the swim meet. Yeah.
Dude, I thought they were making this up. I thought this was like a joke, like a viral thing. Like they were just having fun with it.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, no, that was real. But you can't say the word pedophile.
No, and honestly,
I just said the word pedophile, Chuck. My
I
show's
just
get
want to
taken
be
off the air.
absolutely clear. and you're talking about real men, and this is the thing is, for me, it's standing up for this kind of a thing and protecting the people around you.
Being a father
and that's
figure.
a big part of it. Yeah. And I'll tell you, if there was a 52-year-old guy who was going into the locker room with the 9-year-old girl swim team that my daughter was on, I'd identify as a 9-year-old girl long enough for him to identify it as the injured list.
Yep. I like that.
They'd be pulling him out of there on a gurney.
Dude, I coached kids ski racing.
It'd be over.
For 12 years up in here in the Pocono Mountains, Pennsylvania, on and off from fire, everything else. I always came back in the winters and just tried to help the team whenever I could. Dude, we had kids from 5 years old all the way up through high school. Once they hit 18, graduate high school, they're out of our curriculum. But this was ski race coaching. It's meant to be fun. The flip on that is when parents feel they have the right to exceed their parental responsibilities and now think they're coaches, right? So there's a fun spin on the whole role-playing thing. But again, there are roles and descriptions for a reason. Now, years later, I still renew my USSA ski race coaching certifications every single year, even though I'm not working with a kids race team. But if I ever had to jump in as a consultant or a contract or go help the team one day, I'm legal, right? They do my background checks every single year. So I stay legal, but I have to go through all the baseline of education around parenting. Like, there's a whole outsourced organization that all of kids sports now get certified under. All coaches and everything in there is about appropriate conversation, never being in a room by yourself with a child, right? Protecting the children when appropriate. I was like, yo,
well, the church does that. My church, in order for me to be I was the president of the Sunday school for like 2 years.
Okay.
In order for me to do that, I had to go through the training, and all of my teachers had to go through the training, and they would tell them you can't teach Sunday school anymore if they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. But
the other thing is
people like places like Canada, then even with all of this, all the stuff that came out over the years about some of these old coaches, like being inappropriate to young, like we're talking professional athletes, like Olympians, are bringing this stuff out years later, right?
Yeah.
All that went on over the past few years, on and off, right? And then they still, a country like Canada then allows a 51-year-old dude to say, I identify as a young girl. I literally thought I was going crazy. I was like, you put an adult in with little girls.
Yep.
I don't care what you identify as.
Right.
Whoever approved that needs to go to jail with that guy. Or go get help or go whatever.
Yeah.
I need to go get counseling. I need to be held. Whatever it may be. Maybe you need to come to a meta mindset night.
Yeah.
Because I'll hold your feet to the fire that you are not ready for. I'll make you a man in no time. All right. It's called, and I'm not going to force you. I'm going to teach you how to run a chainsaw.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you how to eat a proper steak. You know, because that's the other thing. That guy, his brain is probably like starving. He's probably a vegan. Again, that's why I wear shirts like this, right? That's like, yo, dude, what are you doing? No normal person identifies as a young child. Come on.
Right.
There's a mental issue. This goes back to the gun control shit too. Guns don't kill people. It's a tool. If I'm crazy and I don't have a gun nearby, I could take a baseball bat and beat your brains in. So, is that use my gun control, or do we need baseball bat control?
Right. Or hand control.
Yeah. Well, if it go again, just like medical issues, let's go to the root cause. Root cause, possible mental misalignment.
Yeah.
What is the solution? Let's get that mofo in front of some counselors, right? Psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever. Let's figure out what's going on. Yeah. Not the gun, not the baseball bat, not the hands. The brain drives everything else.
Yep. Yep.
Let's put a grown man
we've all got
in with children.
We've all got to be willing to stand up and say, this ain't right.
Dude, I'm waiting for, I hate the sad part. I'm waiting for a dam to break. It's like the trans shit. And now the adults identifying thing. And I'm like, where's it going to stop? I don't get it.
I don't know, but it's not going to stop until enough people stand up and say they've had enough.
And I'm like, listen, I've always said this again, everybody's got a weird position. And I'm not a hateful person, but I'm like, listen, you want to be gay, you be gay. You want to be, but like now we've allowed, like, I shouldn't say it this way. We don't allow anything. Listen, you want to live a certain way by yourself and do your things, you do your thing.
Yeah. If you want to take hormones and surgically alter your body.
Yeah. But then don't
leave
come
my
back
kids
later.
out of it. Leave me out of it.
Don't come back later. Because now that's all coming out. Actually, I respect, for once, I hate the news. I hate magazines, but I will say this. The fact that Time Magazine put that out about the reversing processes coming out now. It's like, somebody wasn't a parent. And they let the
girls
kid
coming out
through.
And saying, I want it back. Yeah.
And then literally full circle in this conversation tonight on this podcast, a kid's going to come out and say, I needed a mother and a father to protect me. Not just,
that's the whole point.
Yes me. Don't just yes me. Because now that person will never have a quote unquote normal life. Like they want to, what is that called? It's not reverse transitioning. I don't know. You're transitioning back.
Detransitioning is the word I hear.
Detransitioning, right? Okay. There is perfect. We now have evidence and cases of people, once they've matured, their prefrontal cortex is done developing. They're no longer a child.
Right.
And they start realizing, wait a minute.
I want to have babies. No, I want to have, I want to have the life that I can no longer have.
Hormones kick in and do what you were naturally built and designed to do. And it's like, wait a minute. I can't have a kid now.
Yep. That's heartbreaking.
I feel like
it's
heartbreaking. Talk about this stuff. We don't talk about this on the show. I'm like, dude, that's some crazy shit.
Well, the thing is that if you're seeing that many people come out and saying, gee, I wish I hadn't done it. Why aren't we thinking, okay, well, then maybe we should hold off on kids for a little while and make sure that the people who are actually doing this are the people who are actually not going to regret it.
Here's my thing. But I'll go old school. Once you're 18, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yes, that's where I come down.
Right?
If you're 18, you can do it. If you can afford it or find somebody to pay for it, and you're 18, it's your body, right? Nobody has the right to tell you can't do something at that point.
There's people petitioning healthcare companies to get this approved as a procedure.
Yeah, see, that's nuts.
I'm like, I don't want my health insurance getting more expensive to pay for somebody's weirdo that they're going to then second guess themselves 5-10 years later and then want to undo. What?
Right.
This isn't healthcare.
Well, it's entirely elective. They are perfectly healthy human beings.
It's like if you want to get breast implants, that's an elective surgery. You should never have an insurance company paying for that. You know, you
No.
want to get butt lifts and all this other weird crap. I can't stand it.
Well,
It's
the
driving me nuts.
insurance company can pay for it, but you should be paying the extra premium to have that covered. And it shouldn't affect my premium to have you have that covered, because I'm never going to do it.
It goes back to the schools, right?
Yeah.
Teachers are teachers, parents are parents. Parents need to parent their children.
Yep.
Okay. Then you don't have to even have this conversation of when they go to the school and they start talking to a teacher and saying, well, I want to be known as Janie, but my name is Johnny. Well, I'm your teacher. Okay, I feel bad. I'll be there for you. No, let me check with the parents, because they're the parents. I'm a teacher.
Yep.
My job is to be a teacher, not be your best friend, not be the shoulder to cry on. I'm here to provide guidance with curriculum. That's it. It's the parents' responsibility to be parents. So if the parents aren't going to be parents, then the teachers still have the responsibility to be a professional and stay the hell out of it and revert it back to the parents. It's like, that's why I grew up. When I was bad, I got thrown out of school.
Yep.
Then I got reprimanded by my parents. So the school, right, their position was, okay, you broke our school policies.
Yep.
You're being thrown out. You're involved in a fight. We don't care who started it. Both people are getting thrown out of school for 2 to 3 days. And then you both come back to school. How your parents decide to parent you is not our problem, but we're removing both of you to be fair to both of you, even if I didn't start the fight, right?
Yep.
Apparently, a lot of that stuff doesn't exist anymore. I don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, it is. I mean, my oldest son was bullied a bunch, and he finally just took the bully out, just lost it.
That's what you got to do, man. Once you stand up to a bully, boom.
They kicked both kids out. They suspended them both for 2 days. And yeah, I mean,
I like this conversation.
He just sat around watching movies, right? It was like, look, that other kid had it coming. And guess what? The other kid left him alone from then on.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But I understood where the school was coming from. It's like, look, we even understand the situation, but we have to follow our policies.
Yeah. That's
fine.
And as a
we
parent,
showed up, you gave us the policies. We knew up front that if he got in a fight, he was going to get kicked out. Right.
My thing is also those policies have to be approved by the school board, right? Which also have to be reviewed and approved by the citizens. So that's why
there's some leeway given to different schools within a district or something, but yeah.
So we're going full circle on this, right?
Well, I'm going in because of one of these policies.
Your kid stood up to a bully to knock the bully down. So right now we've got a school board exceeding their abilities, not listening to the populace, and people need to stand up to the bully and knock that bully down because you're exceeding your rights.
Yep, absolutely.
I like how it all just tied together just now. It was very nice.
Yep.
I like
but I mean, you know, back to all of this. I mean, this all comes back to just one or two general principles, and that's just responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my brother's in jail because he didn't show up to a court hearing, and he wants us to bail us out. Well,
no, you didn't show up to the court hearing. Did he know about it?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I don't
bail
know.
you out.
That's the whole point. Is if I pay your bail and you don't show up to the hearing, then I have to pay the rest of the bail, right? Yeah. I'm only bonding on the bail,
right?
And so I'm going.
Also, this is kind of stupid. You knew about a court date and you chose not to show up. That's on you,
right? But that's this whole conversation, right?
Yeah.
Is, you know, it's people not taking responsibility for their own life. They're blaming, you know, I'm in the wrong body, so I can't be happy. They're blaming their dad or their mom. And sure, some of these things may contribute to you not being happy, but ultimately you have to take responsibility for your own crap. There we go. Right? You have to take responsibility. I'm not happy. Okay, well then I'm going to do something about it. But I'm not going to do it at the expense of 9-year-old kids.
No.
Right? If I'm not happy with my situation, then I'm going to go find another job, or I'm going to go move to a different part of the country, or whatever. But it's up to me.
Yeah.
Right?
And so if you're I talk about that all the time. Personal accountability.
And so, but this is the same thing with my kids, right? Is I'm concerned about the environment that they go to school in. So I'm going to that board meeting because I want it to change, and I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not waiting for some other parent to show up and do it.
That's a very, very good point.
I'm not waiting for the legislature to change the law. I'm going to be petitioning the legislature to change the law, and I have a very good relationship with my legislators. But I'm doing it, right? I'm not waiting for somebody else to figure it out because it's my responsibility, because that's the world I want to live in.
Yeah. And you're right. As a citizen, a lot of people just they get all upset with this, with the Fed and everything else. Like,
Yeah.
guys, you do realize at the federal level we have very little influence. I think you and I have talked about this before on the show. You want
Well,
real
maybe because
impact,
my
it's
rep
local.
in Congress, I know a number of people have just called his office, and the next time he's in town, he goes to lunch with them.
That's awesome.
So it depends, but still, yeah, you know,
There's no guarantee
try.
on that, but
Right, but
yeah.
try.
You got to start at the local and work your way up. It's the most approachable layer of the government. And but if we ignore those local layers and they're allowed to run free, well, that's just going to cascade upward as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. We have to take accountability for change in our lives. We can't expect. If I would have done that, I wouldn't be sitting here right here with you. I wouldn't have had Rob here today. And he's like, dude, I love the home studio. I'm like, it wasn't always like this. You know why? I set goals. And those goals require money. And money requires work. And work requires commitment to the work. And all of that stems back to, okay, maybe my dad wasn't around all the time because he was working a lot, but I was taught hard work. I could do things differently than him. I could take accountability for my future. I could learn better to manage my money better, do better things in my business. So again, not everything my dad taught me was great, but I love him because he did teach me hard work. I just got smarter with it because I took accountability for that. I can't expect like, oh, well, I deserve a raise. Do you? Did you do anything to get the raise if you're a W-2 employee?
Right. You deserve it?
Entrepreneurial space. You don't want to make more money? Okay, then either get really better at how you're pricing out your stuff, parts, services, whatever you're doing.
Get better at sales.
Right. Or just start closing more deals.
Yeah.
Right. Or build your business bigger. Have a team of people making you money. Whatever it is. But it all comes, the buck stops here. Right.
Yep.
I can't call you and like, hey, Chuck, I need you to make me another 50 grand this year. If you can get on that, that'd be great. Well, if you worked for me, sure. But that's just me passing the buck to you because I know you.
Right.
Like Chuck's smart. He can make me another 50 grand.
Yeah, but that's how so much stuff operates out of the government.
Yeah.
Right? Is, oh, well, like here in Utah, there's a big push to have free school lunch for all the kids.
Well, who's going to pay for that?
Me.
And also, do you have influence on what they're being fed?
No, because they follow all the federal programs.
Right. And who is influencing the federal programs?
The lobbyists.
And who's got the money to pay the lobbyists?
Right. I mean,
it's big sugar,
that's
big medical, big pharma. They know that if you can get them sick younger, they'll be on that medical income teat.
Yeah.
All right. The sicker we are, the more money the big pharma makes. And this is not full hat wearing shit. This is just follow the money, people.
It's true.
Who's got the money to influence lobbyists in your kids' nutrition? The big grain and the big sugar industry. Look at the menu. Look at the menu.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't make this shit up.
Man, you got me going. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's been a while since we've gotten like super fired up. I mean, it is obviously in my branding, right? The fire. You're on the Live the Fuel show. It is based on fire.
Yeah, but it's my kids, and that's where.
And I'm sorry. So
no,
I'm helping you walk through some of this virtually before tomorrow. If that's kind of the underlying principle. I
have to do a little bit more homework just so I can chapter and verse the thing.
Yeah.
Because I think I get a minute and a half. So the first 30 seconds, I'm going to chapter and verse. You adopted this on this date. This is what it says. And then it's just going to be, who the F do you think you are?
Yeah. Because unfortunately, you have to. Like, these back in the day, that was never expected. Like, they would actually respect each other. You'd have a legitimate conversation. Yeah. The whole point is, if you're going to hold these hearings or not meetings, then hear people. Don't just tune them out and act like you're higher than them. I don't get that. I never got that. I don't understand how these school boards get to do what they do. The whole system just needs to be rebuilt, just like our government. It's a hot mess. Actually, no. Well, we have great founding principles in our government. It's just allowed to get so bastardized that we just need to bring it back in. You know?
People are way too comfortable.
Yeah.
They're way too comfortable that these people are elected and that they're not going to screw it up.
Yeah. They know they have almost a guaranteed escape route. Like, it's really hard to get nailed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
you really have to screw up. And even then you might have a chance.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess. I'm sorry to fire you, but we did milk out a nice
Nope.
solid show today because of that. So, right? I mean, we're already 50 minutes in, bro.
Oh, I know. People are gonna be like, he's nuts.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? You're a passionate father. You care. You have faith, and you care about your local society, which more of us need to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, did I talk to you last time about when we got snowed in? I had to, a few weeks ago, and I had to dig myself out. Oh, well, that'd be a fun way to close it out, right? Taking personal accountability. Yeah. Let's close out the show on this because, like, you brought that up. I brought that up. But, like, okay, heavy, wet snow came, knocked a lot of trees and stuff down. You know me, I love a good chainsaw. I'm running a webinar that morning on a Tuesday. My wife leaves. She doesn't need the driveway plowed. She's got a 4Runner. She knows how to drive in the snow. All of a sudden, and the dog's with her, all of a sudden I see at the end of my webinar, I see the dog running back up the hill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the hell? And then I see her walking slowly up the hill. I'm like, all right, guys, I got to go. I don't know if my wife got in an accident or what. So I end the webinar. I head outside. I'm like, babe, what's up? And she's like, I made it halfway down the mountain and the entrance is blocked by trees and heavy, wet snow. And she's like, unfortunately, yeah, I need you and your chainsaw skills. She's like, I want to leave. So because it was a snow day, they closed her practice and she was going to go skiing with some friends. Actually, with my client. My client was already at the mountain. Her bestie, Jen. So anyway, I'm like, all right, I grabbed the saw. I grabbed an extra shovel. We both hiked back down. And the next hour and a half, she and I are clearing the entrance. This is a shared entrance of other neighbors, mind you. We're down, just husband and wife banging that shit out. Dragging heavy, wet limbs across the road, throwing it down to the creek. I'm cutting. She's shoveling when she doesn't have anything to drag. We went at this for over an hour. Then I start cutting open my neighbor's driveway because that connects into mine. And next thing you know, I see a car like down the street. It slid into the guardrail, nobody in it. I didn't even notice it. Okay, there's a stranded car. The road's not been plowed. Then I see a guy walking up the street. And apparently his SUV is stuck around the corner. Apparently he's the owner of a tow truck company. And he came out to see where the stranded car was so he could tell his guys to radio them to go where to go. He slid into the guardrail.
Man.
So he hears the chainsaw. He comes up our way, asks to borrow a shovel to see if he can get some snow out of the tires and get out of that. The problem is all these cars, you're coming off of a mountain. It levels out and drops off to a creek. So the lane close to the mountain edge is fine. The lane dropping into the creek is on an angle to allow offlow of water. Well, in the winter, this is a back road, dude. If that's icy, you're going to slide into the guardrail.
Yeah, you're sliding off the road, The
problem is that heavy, wet snow dropped numerous trees off the mountain into that nice flat lane. So people are trying to get around it, getting sucked into that slant, and boom, down into the guardrail. So that's one car. Then it's two cars. Then the police go by.
Oh, God.
I got my local police SUV. He goes by in a Ford Explorer. All of a sudden, I'm still cutting, dragging shit. I send Kristen on her way. I turn the vehicle around, set it away from that, go back the other way on the road. Cop comes walking up. I was like, what's up, dude? He's like, oh, my car's stuck now, too. I was like, is that 3 cars in less than a quarter mile? And I was like, he's radioing stuff. So I keep working. I'm like, all right, let me know if you need anything. And my neighbor comes down the mountain. He plows open the whole driveway because I got it open now. I'm top of him. I'm like, yo, let's push up to the cop. So he plows the road because PennDOT has not come through. So we plow the road ourselves up to the cop. Then plow it back in the other. So taking accountability, getting shit done. Cop tells me, tow trucks won't come up the road because it's got to be fully clear past the cop car.
Oh, man.
We need a plow. PennDOT's telling the cop they're not going to come plow because some of the trees that came off the mountain are on the lines and they don't know if they're live or not.
Oh, God.
Utility companies won't come out because the road's not
because the road's not plowed.
So I'm hearing this circle jerk. I'm sitting there. I was like, all right, I'll be right back. I went back up to the house, got more fuel and bar oil for my chainsaw. I was like, officer, I was like, I don't know if you need to check with your chief. I'm friends with your chief. Your chief works out with my wife and I at the local CrossFit gym. I know Mike very, very well. I was like, just tell him Scott Mulvaney's here. Can he do his thing? And he goes, who are you? I was like, chainsaws. I got this. You can see it laying there. I was like, how about I just hike up the road and just start cutting trees? so the plows can come through? Would PennDOT come
Right.
through? He goes, I'll ask him. So he radios back to the department, blah, 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 blah. They connect on the
Right.
radio to PennDOT. PennDOT's only a couple miles away clearing another road. They said, if we can clear a path, they'll come up. I said, all right, well, let them know that the taxpayer is just going to take care of business. And I start hiking up the road, 1, 2, 3 trees. By the time I get to the third tree, there's still one more on the other side of the road I have to cut. The big plow truck comes up with an escort truck behind that, and she's just pushing snow. And then she stops and she hits a tree that I haven't cut yet. And it is on the lines, and I know it's not live. And she's like, well, if you just nip all those limbs, I'll push all the snow and all the limbs and I'll just keep going. And I was like,
right.
That's a great idea. Happy to assist. That's exactly what I was doing. And I kept cutting, and so literally I had to escort PennDOT to clear half my road to help the tow truck company rescue a police officer, who are all basically they should be helping me. And I had to help them. And if I hadn't, who knows what the hell would happen that day. So I had never had breakfast. I never even had a cup of coffee. I didn't get done working on that street on our road until 2:45 in the afternoon.
Oh, wow.
I started at 10 a.m. at the end of my webinar.
Yeah.
But here's my point. It wasn't a hero story for me. It was like, dude, the police couldn't figure it out. PennDOT's circle jerking with the utility company and the police. Like, everybody's doing the round robin thing. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it. And then you guys can just push through. And that's all we had to do. That's all we had to do. And then here's the best part. The dude with the shovel, I didn't know he was the owner of a tow truck company. So when he left, he's like, I can't get it out. He's like, if you could text me, he's like, I work with a towing company. And as soon as I know the plow has gone through, I'll be able to get the trucks in. I'm like, absolutely. So once I found out, once I started cutting trees, his car was surrounded by trees. I cut all the trees back and I sent him a quick selfie. I'm like, all clear. And that's when he said, dude, I own so-and-so towing company. You and your wife have free tows.
Right.
I was like, okay, there was something positive that came out of it.
Right.
I was like, okay, I'll take that. I mean, I have AAA. I don't pay for towing anyway, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
But the whole summation of that story was I could sit there and watch a circle jerk happening. Right. Which is kind of like what you're going to go deal with tomorrow. Or I speak up and offer just a constructive piece of, opportunity to improve the situation. Like, hey, I don't care about the fuel, the bar oil, my time. I just want the road open. So you could tow all these cars out of here. I'm helping the police. I'm helping innocent citizens. And I'm getting my road open in case there's an emergency issue. It just took me volunteering to cut shit with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
In your situation, you're doing all the research. You're going to go in there and really have a very educated conversation about school issues.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that I like the idea of opening the road, because really, in a lot of areas of life, I have to go and I have to cut a ton of crap that I just don't want to cut. Right.
Ooh,
I'm going to have to go do a ton of work that I don't want to do. I don't want to go in there and yell at these people. I don't want to do this research. I just want to do my thing and raise my kids.
You want to be,
but the thing is to open up the road for my kids.
Fire up a chainsaw. They're forcing you to fire up a chainsaw.
That's right. In order for my kids to have a clear shot to their dreams, they need this crap out of the way. And it turns out that so do a whole bunch of other kids whose parents aren't going to go out and cut trees. And that's fine, right? I'm going out and I'm helping people who I've never met before.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's something that has to be done so that I can open the road up so that they can go and they can have what they want.
I like how you just tied all that together. Dude, I wasn't even going that route. But then as soon as you said, I like the story of opening the road, and I'm like, oh, I know where he's going to go. Oh, that was great. Because it's true, right? We basically had this stalemate or this BS roadblock in your current situation.
Yeah.
And
well, it's with entrepreneurship or family or anything.
But it takes the willingness to be a supporting partner, and obviously the willingness of others to come together and be a team and work together. You're always going to have opposition, right? And yes, the more people who work together, the more horsepower, the more momentum you'll have. That's like the definition of a hotshot crew. I'm one
Yeah.
saw operator. But if I got 3 more saws behind me and all the digging team, a 20-man crew can cut a huge road, a huge fire break around a hire. That's why hotshot crews are designed that way. So let's tie all that back to what you're saying here. Okay, so somebody's got to speak up, and then another will speak up, and then we'll generate enough. It might and may have a little animosity, and unfortunately, but we'll generate a positive change and energy to start shifting things the right way.
Yep. It may get hot, it may get dirty, but that's the way it goes.
But they unfortunately cause that. Yeah. Like I was soaking wet. I was exhausted. I went through 2-3 tanks of fuel and bar oil, and I burned a chain out. Right. So there was some wear and tear to create some positive change. Hopefully you don't have too much wear and tear on your end. I mean, I hope it goes.
They might kick me out of the meeting, so we'll see.
Oh, dude, I definitely want some kind of. You got to share something. Like, send me something.
I'll send you the video.
Is your wife coming?
No.
Oh, say she could video you. That'd be awesome. I would. And you don't even have to share it online. I just want to know. I just want to see it.
Oh, it'll be online.
Is it?
They publish the meeting. Yeah, they video it and publish it.
Okay, dude. All right. I don't want to get you over pumped, so I'll let you do your thing, and then please, I'll hold your feet to the fire. Please let me know how it went, and is it worth me then watching or listening? And then please send me that link.
Yeah, sounds.
I've known you too long now, man. It sounds like quality entertainment to me. I don't.
Yeah, it probably will be.
All right, let's bring this show to a close. We're at the hour or just over. So we hit on balancing family and business time right at the beginning, and then we ended up just dumping into parenting and fathers versus mothers. And I know that's a polarized subject, but whatever. I'm a pretty simple dude. But then we hit on the teachers versus parents and responsibilities, and then obviously this whole opening the road thing at the end became pretty symbolic. I love that. So how would you kind of sum it all up? How would you want to close the show out?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You just take responsibility for where you want to end up. And recognize that you have that same responsibility for your kids.
Yeah. Well said. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. This is why Chuck's a regular on the show. Dude, yes, you might have heard some very interesting points in today's show, which does not come up on Live the Fuel very often. But that's why I like Chuck, because he's want to talk about stuff I don't normally talk about. He's a true family man. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, take responsibility, take accountability for everything happening in your lives. It doesn't have to be politics. It doesn't have to be school boards. Look at your nutrition. Look at your life balance, right? Look at how you're prioritizing different domains. But in the end, if you want anything to happen or change and move in the right direction in your life, as Chuck said today, and I'm agreeing with, take accountability, take responsibility, and start putting in the reps yourself. Okay, you can't have everything just spoon-fed to you and handed to you on a silver platter. That's just not the real world. All right, we got to work for it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're here to fuel your health, your business, and your lifestyle. Chuck Wood helped do us today. So make sure you check out the show notes, follow him everywhere he is, especially if you're into development and especially if you're into Ruby on Rails. Just a shout out to that. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. Chuck did it exponentially today. I think we hit a new goal in our show format. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. And remember, you too can live the fuel. We'll talk to you guys again soon.
Max out.